So, Tracy, we're up and running. How's everything coming on with you this beautiful sunny day in North Carolina?
I know it's sunny. Somebody was just telling me it's going well. Somebody was telling me that I guess what 2/3 of our country is like in snow or something crazy like
Yeah.
that.
Can you imagine Texas?
That's how much I'm in my own little, world. But yeah, it's nice to see the sun. I have to say that because for those of you who don't know what's been going on here in North Carolina, it's just been raining, 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 raining,
Yeah. I'll take the rain
so
though, because what I'm hearing about in Dallas, no power, no water, just services
yeah.
off. So they're running to the farms that have firewood, right? To
Mhm.
to light up the fireplaces. So
Yeah. If you have them.
correct,
If you
correct,
have a fireplace, yeah.
correct,
Otherwise, you're
correct.
making a little fire outside, somehow.
Mm,
I
mm.
don't know. It's again, there's challenges all around, and so for those people who are dealing with that, I'm terribly sorry. I know that can,
Yeah.
you do what you need, and you can do.
Yeah, correct,
But
correct. Yeah, yeah. And if you can do something for others, go out there and do something for others, right?
yeah, for
That you're
sure.
supposed to do.
Yeah.
But you know what? What's going on with you?
What is
What's
going
going
on with
on?
me?
What's
I would
going on?
realize I'm like, I guess I'm growing. Like my head is like cut off here. It's interesting. I'm kind of feeling it. I've been using the analogy of the trapeze bar.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ever watch trapeze artists, and they have to, in the beginning, that they have to learn that flow of when to let go of the bar that they have to go grab the other bar. and
Correct.
and I've been talking to so many clients, and I feel like myself included, obviously, because again, that's always how it works. It's that we've let go of that trapeze bar of what we've known, but we're still in the hang time between grabbing the new.
Uh, uh,
And what happens in that ebb and flow stage, or the in
mm,
between, right? It's that in between, is that it's almost like that crucial moment, when we're in a crucial moment. Some people say near death experiences, there are life flashes before them, but what really happens is we get really crystal clear real fast
yep.
about what it is we need to know or we need to do. And I feel like that's happening with a lot of us, is this crystal clarity, but it's coming from inner guidance,
Mm,
right? So more and more people have been telling me how, their bodies are talking to them, that they, through they're doing more meditation, and through
mm,
that, they're being spoken to, and things are becoming more clear. and
mm,
and I think that that's what happens in that hang time, right? Whether it's the hang time of am I going to live or die, or it's the hang time between, it's we're being initiated
mm,
into that next level, whatever that is. It's different for everybody.
yep.
So there's that piece going on that I've been kind of observant of, listening to other people tell the stories, and my God, that fits into that analogy so well.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this other piece of, you know, really honoring the the again, what within those also inner voices, inner guidance, within the messages,
Yeah.
there's information that always hooks back to me needing to make a choice to decide. So let me be more clear.
Mm-hmm.
Where I may get a feeling of a lot of stuff's been coming up around the past for me lately, for whatever reason. And I think about it as reconciling, right? Reconciling the bank account, reconciling, feelings, emotions, thoughts,
Gotcha.
whatever. And past stuff. And so something will hit me like a memory of some way, and it may give me an emotional experience, or it may give
Mm-hmm.
me a mental experience, right? I start thinking something about it or feeling something about it.
Gotcha.
And I've been aware of the fact that traditionally what I've done, I'm not going to speak in we because I can only speak for my, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I've done is I start to make up the story about what the other person, they said this and that made me feel this. And this new awareness over that is here to train me, right? So
Mm,
this emotion, there's something in me that's still stuck, right? It has nothing to do with that story that's long gone. Even if it was a story that happened 2 minutes ago, it still doesn't have to do with the story. It has to do with what it's triggering in me that is a sign and signal that there's something that I need to attend to.
Gotcha.
Right. And really taking full accountability and responsibility for my own, charge, so to speak, taking charge of my charge. It's like, it's I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of me and everything that comes from me, that happens to me, that is about me. And it's been very illuminating, because as I work through those thoughts, feelings, and all of that, that is where a lot of this clarity is coming, and where that then tends to bring me. So I find it's the day-to-day thing. I'll be, grappling with something a day before, and the next day, the clarity just brings me to this whole new place. It's like arriving on a new island, kind of thing. And all that comes with that. And it's just like, wow. And then another experience comes along, and I grapple with that, and I work through that. And then boom, it brings me to a new place. And so it's like island hopping. Island hopping of sorts lately. And I've been discovering so many things about myself that is, I think that's what self-love is really about, is as we start to focus on this first core relationship, which is the one with ourselves, and we start to, just like we would fall in love with another person, we start to fall in love with who we are. I mean, when we're falling in love with the new person, over time, obviously we start to see some of the flaws as well, but we learn to love regardless, like love them, not even despite, but love them because.
Correct.
And when we do that with ourselves, it's that same experience, but it's so deep. Another thing that I've been experiencing is the love, as I come through the grappling of certain things and into this place of love, is it's almost overwhelming. Like I've sat a couple times in the last 2 weeks with this feeling of love that's washed over me. In one case, it was for my body and just how far it's taken me through life. And another it was for another person.
Gotcha.
But the expansion of the love feeling was so much that I was just like trying to sit in it. It was just like, oh my gosh, this feels so big, and I'm crying. And it's just like, this feels so huge. Like, can I wrap my arms around this big love?
Wow.
And so there's been, I know I'm all over the map with answering your question, but it's been a ride. It's been a ride, but it's been an inner ride of self-discovery that's just been immensely rewarding.
So you're still in the hot seat. You said you're discovering these things. Can you share 1, 2, 3? What are you discovering about Traci Wulwyn Phillips?
Well, so one of the things that I said to a client today was, I've been coming into, and I said, I'm sharing this in case it helps, because I'm hearing from you that maybe that's what you get to or need to hear. But it's, who am I and why am I here? I found myself in a conversation with my husband, a couple of days ago when we were on a walk, and he's been really feeling like it's his mission to uncover some of these things that have been going on in the world, right? He's just like, there's just stuff that doesn't add up. And, he's a Scorpio, so he's always looking for he'd be a great PI. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Gotcha.
And, he just wants to dig until he finds the answers. And, he's passionate about it, and he's explaining these things to me. And he's like, I would think you would care more about this. I'm like, okay, well, how do I frame this? I care a lot, but it doesn't feel like it's my mission. And I think that that's the piece, is that not only are we are designed with different perspectives, right? We have different perspectives on things based on our experiences in life and our predisposition, our personalities and all that stuff, but also we're here. So who we are, and then why we're here. The missions we're all on is different. I said to him, like, I'm not being called to put my energy and efforts into that. You are. And I completely support that. I think that's magnificent. I'm here. Go boy. You just, tell me what I can do to support you. But it's not I'm not being called to that same mission, if that makes sense. It's not that it isn't important to me and I don't see the significance in it, but my energies and efforts are being called elsewhere. And that's my mission. And we only have so much energy, right, in us. And so we have to decide, where's my passion? Where's my mission? And that was what we talked about, is I'm like, I am here 100% to support you. And I think it's great. And yes, it matters, and go you. And thank goodness there's people like you who want to uncover these things. That's just not what I'm being called to do. I'm being called to run into that building called, burning building called corporate, work with these leaders who've been doing it a certain way that's not working for them, not working for us, that they're huge impacts in the corporate, machine.
Correct.
And we need to start turning this boat around, and they don't know what they don't know. Right. And I am being called piece by piece by piece into that direction. And my energies and efforts are pulling me there. Everything I decide to do, everything I decide to engage with, everything I'm thinking about is in terms of leadership at high levels. I don't want to burden myself with things that aren't a part of that. And this discernment is becoming so clear in me. I don't want to think about, again, and he says, well, is it just putting your head in the sand? You don't want to think about the environmental things that are going on. You don't want to think about, are we all going to be forced to, do things the same way, and being forced against our will for certain things. I'm like, I care, but again, I'm not being called to be one of those frontline people. And I think there's a huge distinction, because if we're passionate about something, we're looking around expecting everybody to be passionate about it too. And that may not be everybody else's calling. So we get to focus just on our calling, and then meeting up with the people who seem to have the same calling we do. So we all march off as a tribe to kind of work on that mission together. But can we still be together even if we're not on the same mission? Absolutely.
Yep.
We can be in complete community, because we need different people to play different roles. I mean, it's like a tribe. Not everybody can be the chief. Not everybody, his mission is to be the chief of the tribe.
Ooh.
Right.
Hey.
So that's where I've been lately, is just in this, and also honoring other people for, not looking at them and going, well, why aren't they passionate about what I'm passionate about?
Yes.
It's been so clear to me. I mean, it's crystal clear. And that's kind of where I've been living, in this place of like, okay, what's mine? Who am I? And so you asked me the question, who's Traci Phillips? What am I discovering about myself? I'm discovering that I am this incredibly passionate being that came here to provoke, evoke, and potentiate, right? Those core people who I came to work with. I didn't come to work with the world. I mean, I have many people said, you need to go on a huge platform and speak to the world. I'm like, I'm not being called in that direction. Some people are. I'm not. I know I am here to work with a certain group of people, right? In a certain way.
Wow.
And the more I'm true to that, and it doesn't feel limiting, it doesn't feel like, oh, you're just scared, you want to hide in a corner of your niche. No, it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels true. It feels right. It feels like it fits.
There's enough time and place.
Yes. And that may evolve over time. For right now, that's my truth, and that's my knowing.
Correct.
Right. Over time that might change, but it's been really cool, to get that level of clarity. And it's like, just, the do you boo thing is really it. It's, I do me, but as I do that, as I focus on me and who I am and what I'm here for, the clarity also extends to everybody else.
Correct.
So as I'm listening, I'm like, oh, that person's here for that.
Correct.
Oh, that person's truth is that. Oh, I completely honor that. It's not how I do it, not how I see it, but boy, I totally honor that that's where they are and that's what they came for. Right on.
So many in my conversations over the past year, I've really focused on my preposition and or but. So most times when somebody speaks, we'll go, but. And that's an eraser. It erases everything the person said. So I'm speaking in but I say, oh, no. It's not a but, it's an and. It's an and because we're doing an and here. I'm not erasing everything you said. I'm bringing my thoughts now to this table. And, as people are listening, we have Lori. Hey, Lori, how are you doing? I see you're having a good evening. Carl, my man, things I mean, when I say my man, we're not buddies, but we may become buddies, right? But you
For
say
right
that.
now, we're all buddies.
But now, hey, Carl, what's going on, bro? You said I love that because I felt like I had to be good about everything. That's when you were speaking about understanding your mission. We are not called to everyone. I was so frustrated when you're a minister, you feel you have to do everything someone asks you to. Carl. Okay, this is where I was going. I was going to go based on your conversation. When we understand our mission, it's not a but to the other people's missions. It's an and. Moreover, when we understand our mission and our purpose, we are so clear about what we're supposed to be doing that when someone sees you in your zone of excellence, they think they can call you, whereas you're supposed to be in your zone of genius. And that's when you're supposed to say, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm good at administrating. I'm good at technology. However, when you come and say, Wulwyn, I want you to come and be part of my organization where you will lead the technology in administration. No, bro, I'm not. That's not. I have to work on this mission of going to build churches, hospitals, schools, clinics around this world, because I know when I fulfill that, the ROI will be way greater than what I did in operating for you. I'm not being selfish. I just know that I know my path. I know where my path is. And when you answer those questions that Traci is to do, go into corporate and take this big old ship and slowly change it, change its course. Traci, you may, there are times when it may seem as though, and this is to other people who are so mission driven, there are times, not there are times, if, thank you, Lord. When you're mission driven, it's not something small you're trying to change. It's huge. So why do we feel mission driven people when we are operating our mission that we say, this thing is it going anywhere? Am I making change? Am I fostering this thing that I'm working? You're supposed to think that, but the thing is so huge that, remember what we said earlier before this meeting? Oh, wow, season 2, EP 4. And then we said, in no time, there's going to be a body of work we will have a library of what we're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. There are destiny helpers who will come alongside you. Now, destiny helpers, for a period, they're going to come and assist you. They also have their mission. Some people's mission are to become destiny helpers. They just point and say, there's that person who's supposed to be doing that. There's that person who can help you here. Oh, the person is standing at a doorway waiting for Traci. Before Traci gets to the doorway, they say, Traci Waldman Phillips, you may meet her one of these days. She's excellent. She does this. You're not in the presence. They're there to speak your name. And when you get to that gate, when you tell, hi, who are you? I'm Traci Waldman. Oh, you Traci? Okay. The door's open for you, because that destiny helper, that person who went ahead and heralded your name, has opened up a door for you. And that's what we do in this world, where you said somebody's going to come and assist. Somebody's going to come and assist. It's not their main job to do. Maybe their main job to do. Doesn't mean, you said everybody's not supposed to be the chief, but in our various conversations in this walk of life, you will be an assist to somebody as somebody's going to be an assist to you.
For sure.
So
I call them earth angels. We all get the opportunity to play those assists, and again, and sometimes it comes as a challenge. We challenge people, right? And that's the other piece. I did a talk yesterday on empowerment dynamics and how to create situations of empowerment versus disempowerment. And there's some simple models around it. And again, so the question is, who am I and what's my mission? Why am I, right? Who am I and why am I? And then there's these great tools to keep us in a place of invitation. That's been the big word that I've been using lately, is how can we invite people into an empowered dynamic, like seats at the table. You just said it, exactly what I've been thinking, is that when I know solidly where my seat is at the table, then I can invite others, to take a seat wherever they may. I had a great conversation with a visionary potential client a couple of days ago. He says, we were talking about the concept of coaching. He says, yeah, I mean, I can see how it can help, but I just don't like being told what to do. And I said, oh, that's an interesting take. Is that what you feel coaching would be? Is a person telling you how you needed to live your life, run your business, whatever. He says, yeah, he says, I think I like the idea of framework and parameters and accountability and all that. But, I like to figure it out myself. I said, well, let me just tell you, that's the way I see coaching too.
Correct.
Right. I'm not a consultant. I'm a coach, and again, coaching is about helping you discover you, but with the additional viewpoint of the things you can't see because you're you.
Correct.
And so where you can get more information, but ultimately the coach is there to help you ground you in your capacity to make your own decisions. That's what a creator does. They make their own decisions and they stand by them. If I'm doing it for you, there's none of that happening. So I'm right there with you. Said visionaries have to especially feel like they're not being told what to do, because we're not here to follow anybody's lead. We're here to set a whole new,
there's no roadmap,
way to do it.
Correct.
Right. So
Correct.
we can't follow. So some people's mission is to follow, is to be a part of the troop and do the stuff a certain way. Others of us, we came in to break the molds and create new ones. I mean, but everybody's mission is equally important.
Correct.
Equally, quote unquote, big, even if it doesn't look big like an Oprah Winfrey mission. It can be big in its own right if your mission is to do work in your community or just in your family or just in your own life. I mean, it isn't about measuring it as far as what we constitute big and valuable and small and insignificant.
Correct.
All of our missions are big, right? Potentially. And I think that but it's knowing what ours is and being able, as you said, to develop. But I think once we do that, part of what happens, because disempowerment dynamics come from fear and anxiety, which is an ego response to the story. Now, what does the ego do? The ego protects. What does the ego protect from? The outside world, right? So when we're battling with the but, right? You said the and the but. Correct. The but is competition, rivalry, like, no, if I have a seat at the table, then if you have a seat at the table, somehow you're taking up my seat. Right. And that's when we don't know. Like this woman in a group the other day said, I don't know, I'm not finding any good people for this position I'm trying to hire for. And my first response in my head, because I'm not coaching her, was she's not clear on who she wants. The only reason she's not finding that she's not able to offer and invite that person to that seat at the table is that she doesn't even know what her own is, probably, but she has no idea what that seat is that she's offering.
Correct.
Right. We need to, and we can only become clear of that when we become clear within ourselves of these things, the what and the why. Correct. So that's the piece that's really coming through, very, very clearly. And it allows us all to be in this space of potentially, if we choose, love, connection, curiosity, because really, ultimately, if we look at the triangle of empowerment, so we've got triangle, creator at the top. That's the person who takes full responsibility for everything in their life. They know that they have the choice always, and they focus on what they can do. And they look down the triangle to the two corners out into the world, and they see, well, I need support and I need challenge to grow. Right. And we can even change the roles from creator, coach, and challenger to love, connection, and curiosity. A challenger will charge you with curiosity to come outside of your comfort zone and grow. Right. And the connector is going to connect you with the resources and information, things you need to support you. Right. And we're all here to create this love, this feeling. And that's why I think this expansiveness is holding. It's like, how much can you hold? How much can you receive? where we start to shut down because someone's showing us attention, it's because we can't receive. It has nothing to do with that person's love, like it's not good enough or it's not the right person, or no, they're just giving love.
Yeah.
But if we have a hard time with that love, it's because we haven't opened up our capacity to receive, right?
Mhm.
So that's the thing that I've been finding, like I said, when I have
Gotcha.
feelings about certain things, what does that reflect back to me?
Gotcha.
Right? What is that telling me? And one of the biggest things is that I'm being grown, and I think we all are, to hold more love.
Mhm.
Because where we can hold more, guess what? We have more in our tank. We have a bigger tank
Yep.
because we're holding more, so we have more to give.
You know, what's going on in my world is gosh, Traci, you spoke for 30 minutes. Whoa, wow.
A lot coming through.
I'm just teasing when I say that. You know how I tease. Love, wrapping, just looking at what we just spoke about. I think it's increasing our capacity to love, and that capacity is self and others, right? Because I think we talked on this a while ago that loving someone also means not taking their loads, their drag, but being able to open the door so that it can, one, drop the drag or pass through the door you're opening and learn that, my goodness, I need to dump this drag, right? So that I can become a better person. Mine is I'm just highly focused on three things. So Bill, I'm going to come to my three things. Bill just dropped in, and it's stuff to balance listening for your mission and being open to it, parentheses, open, the right and real one, versus forcing what we think it should be or told it is. So
for
it's,
sure.
you're so true. It's I think it's all about meditating and introspection. Um, if you are a spiritual, we are all spiritual people, depending what spirit you're floating with, right? So I'm floating with the Holy Spirit. I meditate with the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit supernaturally lets me know what I'm supposed to do, right? There's a whole lot of searching and seeking that you have to go through. And I think it segues into what I'm going through right now in this season. It is understanding that I'm not, I have no part to play in this, but obey the what's coming to me. You had said it in a way earlier today. You said it. I I didn't want to keep writing, but it was in line with I'm going to be free, the freedom to do what I know my mission is, and the way the mission comes is it's a it's a higher delivery that comes to you that says this is why you were made to fit this space, fill this space, and operate in this space. So mine is I'm doing three things in this season, and the three things are very, very simple. Focus on God. One, two, write the books that he told me to write, and three, fix my house. Did I tell you this before?
You did.
I did,
And it hasn't shifted or changed,
it
which says
hasn't
a lot right
shifted.
there.
It hasn't shifted or changed. And I'm meditating the other day, and it goes, but you're doing two out of the three. Why aren't you doing the third one? And the third one was the book. I'm happy using my hands to fix molding and script paint and do all of that. I'm great at, oh, I'm gonna wake up 2 a.m. and meditate to God. But the writing the book part, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. And he said, hey, dude, you're not writing a book. Oh, that's true. So I started to write the books. I'm writing the books. What's my mission in this? I got an overall mission. Nah, something's coming. We have this overall mission, but there are subset objectives, rather. There are objectives and goals that build up to develop this mission. So in yours, you're writing the book, you're speaking to the clients, you are coming on here and talking, because the fact we aren't wasting our time to come and talk, because trust me, You've got way better things to do. I've got way better things to do than to come here to just shoot the breeze. We know that it's part of our mission. This is a subset, there's an objective, a goal in here that builds up a body of work that will support the mission one of these days. So as I'm saying this, there are some of you out there who are, you're in the process and you're saying, but wow, this thing doesn't feel like it's supporting my mission. Trust and believe the process. There are sections of your mission that you're not doing the glorious thing that you perceive. I'm not building the churches and the hospitals and the widow centers right now. No, but what I'm building is I'm building the character, the spiritual character that will enable me to do that. Because if I go just with the physical and whatever comes my way, and I'm just operating on the physical, that mission is done for. Whatever you're doing, building you up now, it's so important for your mission and for what God has for you to do on this planet. So my thing, Traci, those three things, my dears, sticking to them. Maybe next week's going to change, but I'm not looking forward to it. I know most times it's a year or two or three, and there's a process of waiting. There's a process of being patient. There's a process of understanding that when it tarries, it's going to come through. And when it comes through, oh my goodness, it's never what you perceived it to be. It's always going to be better. It's always going to be more people who will drink of this thing that you are birthing. This thing that you're birthing, I haven't done it before. I don't want to do it because I've seen what it does. But after the 9 months, the travail, when you hold that baby in your hand, it's you never really saw the baby. You saw pictures, you saw images of it, and it wasn't a baby. It was a vision kind of that you saw. But the true thing that you birth, when you hold it in your hands and you behold it, oh my goodness, it's beyond your words. So I will end with this and punt to you. You be patient with the baby process, the baby making process. Be patient with it. Because when it comes, it is going to be so amazing.
Well, and it's funny because we do forget, you talk about I think of it as travail, which is the word work in French, the travail that we go through, in order to create. And the funny joke in our family is, I was in labor for about 18 hours with my daughter. And, my husband just watching this I think his face, the nurse said his face was harder to look at than mine, through the whole thing. Cause he's just, feeling completely like there's nothing he can do to make it better. Correct. And as soon as she was born and they were cleaning her up, because apparently I don't remember doing this, but I looked up at him and said, "Oh, that wasn't that bad." He just was like, "What? Where the heck have you been?"
18 hours? Shoo.
I mean, seconds after it was over. That wasn't that bad.
Wow.
Yeah, we forgot, like real quick.
Wow.
But I feel so. You were talking about why we do this, and one of the things that has come up for me, I was talking to this person the other day, and he has this voice for radio. And the first time I met him, I'm like, "Oh my God, have you been in radio? Like your voice is just like the perfect radio voice." He says, No, I haven't. And I said, "Well, it's grounding, and some of us, that's what grounds us. I mean, what the gifts we have are for others, but they're also to help sustain ourselves." Correct. And I always find that I process best when I'm talking. So one of the reasons I do this is because it helps me process through. I mean, sometimes I talk to myself, but I'm not always walking around talking to myself. And so it gives me, like when you ask the questions, when we bounce these things back and forth, it gives me the opportunity to stop and ponder and work through and make connections and hear the value and ground myself through my own voice. Right. Others can be grounded through our voice. And I've heard that a lot. People say, "Gosh, every time I talk to you, it's like just hearing your voice makes me feel peace." So obviously my voice was a gift to help ground others, but that same gift was given first and foremost for ourselves, I believe. And And so that was the first thing that I was thinking of, is that I do this first selfishly because it grounds me. And what grounds me is supports me. And what supports me allows me to go out in the world and do my mission and be who I am. Right. So this is a valuable piece in my life, you know, in any time that I can have these high level conversations. I mean, we can't have these conversations with just anyone. Right. You know, and I think what's beautiful is we're putting it out there into the ether. Some people it will resonate with, other people will be like, what in the world are they talking about? It's like, oh, it's all over the map and I don't get it. They're not making any valid points or whatever. That's okay. But for us, if it soothes and feeds and nourishes us first, and then the benefit is that anybody else that resonates with that, it helps them too.
Yes.
That's why we're here. I mean, this is a huge key piece, and anything that we choose to do should first fall into that category. Is it supporting or challenging me to grow? Right? Because the other thing that this does is it challenges me too, because I'm a deeply personal person. Like, you know, sometimes you have to pull out, Traci, tell me more. Can you give me details? You know, I've always been a deeply personal person, and I don't talk about a lot of my stuff. I mean, I was on an interview the other day and just randomly found myself sharing all these crazy stories that have happened in my past. And the guy's like, whoa, you've been through all that? And I'm like, yeah, I just don't really talk about it. And I joke because I thought, well, normally I wouldn't talk about it because people think I'm making it up because it's so crazy. But I don't talk about it because I've just always been deeply personal. And so this is really stressing. Oh, I don't know where that word came from.
And
Stressing, right? Stressing the need for me to expand and come out of my comfort zone only as much as I'm comfortable, right? Because some of us are very comfortable just being like, hey, open the doors and anyone can come in. I will always have a certain degree of comfort. I do believe in keeping a lot of things personal. And part of me is I don't like to live through drama. In other words, I don't want to be defined by drama. I find that doesn't resonate with me. Like if I'm listening to an author on Audible or whatever, and they're just so into the drama story, it turns me off. And so again, some people relate to that. They subscribe to that. They resonate with that. I don't. There's a certain degree of using it as a tool and growing from it that I embrace. But oh my gosh, oh, you can make a platform because you suffered or struggled. That doesn't resonate for me. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm not saying it's bad. It just is not my thing.
It's not yours. Correct.
Right. And so that's the piece that I think I get to walk that line of what seems relevant and helpful for me and possibly for others, and what just seems not in that resonant point with who I am and what I came for.
And you know, Traci, we and I know that of you, about you. We have conversations, and there's a lot of third party references.
Yes.
You go with, I was speaking to my client. But if what I know about the speaking to my client conversation is, you're really talking about yourself, but using the client as a reflection and speaking it. So I hear it and I go, okay, so the question is, so Traci, tell me what happened with you? Like when you were talking about the conversation, and I said, hold up, what are you discovering? And here you come in and you discover love, and you explained all of that. It's just like when we first started on the phone, when you and I were talking, well, like you would say something, I would say another thing, and then we decided, we should put this out there and let people hear it, right? It's a conversation that we're talking about ourselves. We're talking about what we're walking through. And most of you, Carl, Bill, Lisa, you're going through these things because, believe it or not, everything that we're saying here, and those who are staying and listening, it resonates with you. That is what we're supposed to talk about today. And when I go in and come ask you a detail about, so Traci, tell me something, this personal thing. When you do say what you're saying, it aligns perfectly with the hearers, the listeners. That's why you're free to give it in that moment.
Yes. Oh,
Mm.
that's beautiful. That really resonated. What you just said hit a mark. Because something that I've learned about myself a long time ago is that I only, of course, a lot of people see me as a big talker. I talk a lot, but I only say what I sense is valuable to my audience. Let's just call it audience, the people around me. I don't talk superficially. I don't talk just to hear myself talk. Right. And that anything I'm saying, I'm being called to say for whatever reason, both for myself and for others, but there isn't anything just to fill in the gap or to just have words thrown out there. I'm always very, very intentional, not only with choice of words, but with how much I say. So again, that's where I say it comes through. But I really appreciate that you said that, because that again aligns completely. You're absolutely right, with a deep, deep truth that I've known about for quite some time.
You when you said that just now, my wife was talking to a friend in the UK 3, 4 days on Saturday. So I'm on the floor, I'm laying on the floor, she's on the bed. We had a power went out on Saturday, and she's talking to this guy. I know him, and she says, "Man, I need you to do a video." Blah 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 blah. He says, "Man, Verlin, I don't want to do the video." And I say, "Man, you want to do it. You're a grown-up boy growing up." So a grown-up boy in Liberia, it's slang for popular ladies man. You just rolling, right? You
Right.
baller, play basketball. So you were the jock. So you're a jock, right? And when
Mm-hmm.
I said it, he laughed. And when he laughed, he went on with his he went in the conversation with us. He went on with Verlin. I dropped off, went on doing my thing. A couple of hours later, the Holy Spirit hits me saying, "Hey, you shouldn't have said that." I was like, I was just kidding with this. No, you don't kid like that. You don't
Mm-hmm.
kid like that. You don't use your words flippantly. And I go, so I asked Verlin, can you give me his number so I could talk to him? And I talked to him. I said, "Man, I'm sorry for." He said, "No, I knew you were joking." I said, "I know I was joking, and you knew I was joking, but I'm trying to be intentional in this season with what's coming out of my mouth, because just in case you didn't understand, what would you have thought? Just in case." So when you talked about in our conversations here that you were speaking intentionally, it's so important that we start to speak intentionally, meaning stay quiet when we have to be quiet. If you don't know, I don't know. Or when you have something to say, you say it respectfully with an and, not with a but.
Yeah. When you just said say it respectfully, I'm actually starting to tear up. And um, what that inner uh, mechanism is for me
Mm,
is something that needs to be shown. Right. It's that, it's almost like you get stripped down, like you just get stripped down to the key components.
mm,
Reverence is such an important thing to me. Like, I know that I came here somehow to bring that message forward,
mm,
is that if we can be more reverent and honor one another more,
mm,
it isn't just about the love. In order to get to that level of true, um, what is it, unconditional love, we first have to walk in reverence.
mm,
Right. And so when you said that, I mean, it hit this chord of like deep truth, deep, powerful truth when it comes to message, because I feel like when I get sad these days, it's because that's missing.
mm,
It's and it can be subtle, like ghosting, where someone loves someone deeply, but for whatever reason, they're challenged in that relationship. So they just walk away.
mm,
They just drop the relationship. And that love and that connection just gets totally, it's not being honored.
mm,
That's more subtle or more obvious, where people are just outright, like cutting people off and cutting people down, and just not, no, that's wrong, and
mm,
just being completely irreverent. That brings so much sadness in me. I mean, I just feel like this world is, if we could just stop and consider I mean, one of the things yesterday in the Q&A was people said, okay, this whole dynamic of empowerment, disempowerment, like how do you deal with somebody who's in perpetrator and they're trying to control the situation and they're just, all in the power struggle. How do you deal with that? I said, well, you hold your space in your empowerment place as creator. So first of all, it's that boundaries, right? Let's say you want to play challenger to their perpetrator, they're in the disempowered role, you're in an empowered role, right? How do you do it from a place of listening to what it would sound like on the other end? So when you deliver whatever you have to deliver, before you deliver it, think about how it will be received. I mean, it's that Maya Angelou quote, people will forget what you did, they will forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel.
Yes.
And so even if we're trying to, help someone out, by, challenging them in a respectful way, part of that respect is and again, we can't control the meaning somebody is going to give to something.
Correct.
But I'm talking about the intention from the heart. Is my intention to cut them down and stop them from their power trip? Or is my intention to invite them to a better place of interaction from a place of compassion and honor and love and kindness and again, invitation, as opposed to control? I need to just show this person. And if I have to bring them down to a smaller level to show them, I mean, that's just going to breed more. That's disempowered.
Wow.
That's, I think, where this emotion is coming from, because that's the message I needed to give today.
And you said it, you said it makes you sad, right?
When I see those dynamics.
Correct. And, there's something called the holy discontent. And when you see those dynamics in play, the thing that draws you to it, that is considered that's what fuels your mission. It fuels your mission. What are you discontent? What's that thing in this world that makes you so pissed? Pissed is one end of the spectrum. Sad is another one, right? What makes you, and then it moves you to create solutions. You say your husband's looking at these things and, oh, man, I want to find aren't you? It moves you to create. So what is my sister Traci saying that I'm going to reflect out to you, because this is what eavesdrop is about. As you're walking around on this earth and you are not, people tend to say, oh, I don't want to be touchy-feely. When you truly walk with your eyes open and you see what's going on in this world, and it makes you sad, and it makes you go to the drawing board to start to think on how to fix it, you're finding your mission. The thing that makes you want to
figure it out.
Figure it out. And you can't sleep, even in your sleep, in your dreams, in your conversations. It's just rich with, and people are looking at you like, man, what's wrong with you? Or some of you don't even want to tell people. It's going on in your head. You're thinking it. You're beginning to form your purpose. You're beginning to form your mission. You just saw, and Traci, I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. When you teared up and I saw, I'm looking at you like, you can't help it. It's you. When that thing occurs and that's your core, that's you ready to operate in that space and guess what? If you're thinking, how am I going to do this big thing? That's the wrong thought. Start doing it. People, help is on the way. The people who are supposed to be by your side to do this thing, Traci Waldman Phillips is doing what she's doing. Whatever I'm doing, we are coming and being the assistance in order for us to stand in this season. For us to stand in this season. And you touched me, you. So mine is, yeah, I could tear up, but I also I laugh like that when I'm. It's my expression of being able to come and stand by your side and say a word that I wasn't even didn't know would mean anything to you, right? But
Mhm.
that's what it's about. Mm.
Yeah, thank you. And you've done a really good job of also adding to the and part, right? Adding to my message and where I'm what I'm feeling right now, where I'm coming from. I think that's the key piece too, is that when we saddle up to one another, it's also, if we get it, it's to add our perspective to that, if it can clarify it for other people, or just add to it, right? Add that energy forward, because that's I think we went, I don't know how many conversations ago, when we were talking about the a lack of honor, and how this country started by us coming and taking it away from the natives,
Mm.
and then that was the most dishonorable, and then we put them on reservations, and then we take away their reservations and cut down their land even more and put them on the land that can't be cultivated and can't is unlivable, and I mean, talk about dishonor. I mean, the things we've done and continue to do, when we judge other people for their decisions. And, I mean, these people's decisions are not hurting or maiming, or, I mean, but we make up stories that they are.
Mm.
That person being that way threatens my way. That's a story. That's not true. And it's so dishonoring, because we want to just control, because control, what is that? Ego. It's because we're scared.
Scared.
We're being little 5-year-olds, and we're
Mm.
creating so much chaos and havoc and lack of connection because of it. And so, I'm here to say we have models, but we also really need to be held self accountable. We really need to take the time and stop projecting. I said to someone, I was like, it's a victim stance when we sit here and say, I'm waiting for the government to figure out this COVID thing and then I can go back to my life. That's victim. I'm sorry. It's victim. Go out and live your life. Yes, do what you think you need to do to stay safe and everything, but in your mind, stop waiting for other people to do it for you or give you the answers,
Mm.
right? Because the victim is helpless,
Mm.
right? That means you have zero control of your life, right? And that is just not true. We always have choice. We always have the control of choice,
Mm.
right? So when we're thinking from that vantage point, like you said, we will go looking for solutions. When we're thinking that we have no control, we will also acquiesce to, well, there's no point in me coming up with a solution because I have no control,
Mm.
right? So we stop living. We stop adding our value. We stop being and do, we stop being who we came to be and following the why, which is our mission, because we're waiting for the other person to call us first and apologize. We're waiting for somebody to come and give us that job. We're waiting for our kids to finally appreciate all that we've done for them. We're waiting for what? We need to honor ourselves first by stopping the waiting, and then honor others by stopping the control and the expectation and all of that comes with it. That's where the deep sadness comes from. It's multi-level and multi-layered, but it all starts from dishonoring the self by putting ourselves in the situation of thinking we're victim to our reality. And second, then projecting that into the world.
Mm. Mm.
And so the sadness is that I came here to help facilitate people coming back home to themselves, remembering the power that they have, remembering the mission that they're on. I want so much for people to remember, so much, because that's the base of everything. We want a stronger society, we want a stronger economy, we want a stronger world, we want a better place. It all starts there.
And Tracy, it's you. Let me put it out there. I'm not gonna add or remove anything to this. I'm gonna put it out there and say, I believe in you. I believe you are an agent of change. I believe that you will, the ship that you're looking to turn, your mission, you will be very successful. I believe that you will, yeah, you're a pioneer. I believe you. I believe your tears just now wasn't show. I believe your sadness, where it's here to put space for us to have reverence for each other, to respect each other in this conversation, in this walk of life. I believe you. I trust that you're going to be successful. I know you're going to be successful.
Thank you.
Um, I'm going to end here. I'm going to end here, and I trust you. I trust you.
Thank you. I trust you too. I
Mm,
appreciate this space and I appreciate the honor that you always give to me, and I think that that's where it starts,
mm,
right? It starts by us modeling how that looks, and living into that, embodying it, right? And so I just thank you for being my playmate in the sandbox and showing how, showing just not based on we're here to lead the world, but really based on, again, following our hearts and our mission and believing in that, and not veering from, like you say, whether it's the focus for the season or whether the focus on the season is to add to the, incremental steps towards the ultimate mission. I mean,
correct.
that's really what it is. There's no end game. It's just the unfoldment of
Yes.
each level. I just thank you for being such a willing and active participant in that.
Ah, detail.
And thank you all for being with us too. Those of you who stuck through the conversation and those of you who will listen later
Right.
and just finding, your way. Hopefully we can help the best we can.
Bill, Carl, Lori, Emma, thank you, and all of you who were hidden and didn't say anything. You guys have a good one.
Yeah, thank
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye.
Goodbye.